want to try and go to them in like a circle and see if I can detect a pattern or a shape of where the chanting's coming from.
For a moment, it seems like when they were doing half and half, it was mostly one side of the prisons, and then the other side of the prisons would do the other part.
Mm-hmm.
But all of the chanting is stopped now.
Interesting.
It almost feels like something is trying to set itself up as a god.
Sounds like worship. We should be ready. I think something's going to happen soon.
You can see that Hudooth has come back. And he is asking you what's been going on.
I relay to him
Chanting.
the chanting.
Any other details?
I say, well, one side does it, and the other side. It's like a call and response sort of technique. Have you seen them do this before?
Yes, every night at the exact same time. Right around midnight.
Is this around the time when the attacks happen?
Now that you mention it, perhaps. I thought it was maybe a bit later than that, but maybe.
Okay, well, make sure everyone's aware. Try and get as many guards down here as you can.
Not a lot of us, but I'll try. Hey, I've got the money, I can hire more. I've got a friend or two. Alright, I'll leave you to your business.
Very well. So instead of just standing around now, I think they'd like to kind of patrol along the aisles to see if I can notice something while it's happening.
Okay. I think I'm going to go up above and see if I can see anything up there.
I'll stay below.
Soren, you can see that the hatch guards are back at work and they're trying to fetch another body. And Leaf, you can notice that down below, some of the people who have been meditating before have started to run around in their prisons.
Interesting.
In their cells.
Okay.
They're kind of stabilizing themselves against the wall. And they're not running. You almost think that they're not even running with their eyes open, and they're just kind of guiding themselves with putting their hand against the wall.
Okay. I call out and I say, "What are you doing?"
And they don't say anything to you.
Okay. All right. I'll just take note of this. Can I see a pattern of like who's been running around? Is it a specific area or?
No, actually you go to one of the other people and they're almost... They've slung their shirt around the bars of the cage of the prison. And they're actually like holding themselves backwards, kind of using the shirt to stabilize themselves. And you can see that they're kind of pulling themselves a little bit closer extremely slowly.
Alright.
I think I'm going to go see what the new body looks like, what happened there.
They're pretty eager to show you what's happened, and they know what to do. Somebody else probably told them because these aren't the same people as before.
Okay.
They're still, at this point, pulling up the body, and it seems like the process takes a minute or two. But after a while, they do manage to pull the body up, and you can see that this one has been much more brutally harmed than the other one. The face is almost unrecognizable. The lower half of the body is almost untouched.
Huh. This must have happened during the chanting. Was this one of the ones we saw earlier, or is it a different one?
You've probably seen this body when you were kind of touring around the slave pits earlier in the day.
Okay. Do I know if it was like one of the comatose ones, or was it one of the other ones?
It was a dead one.
Oh, okay. So this one was already dead.
Mm-hmm. They're trying to pull out all the dead ones.
Oh, okay. So this isn't like this didn't die just now. Then this one.
Yeah, this one's been dead for a while.
Okay. But it died during the chanting. Okay.
I observe the ones that are doing weird stuff in their cell, the ones that were previously meditating. And I try to keep note of all their strange behaviors.
There's another one that's running around, but other than that, they're not doing anything in a synchronized fashion anymore. But they all seem to be active. One of them's rattling against the bars, almost trying to shake it open.
Okay. So his hands are on the bars?
Yeah, and he's just like shaking and shaking against the bars.
Alright, I want to see what happens when I touch his hand. Just very briefly.
Take 6 points of electricity damage.
Okay. How does that work with the wounds and vigor thing? I'm not sure.
It would be applied to vigor.
Okay.
So you feel a powerful, powerful jolt of electricity.
Vigor.
Do I hear him get shocked?
My.
Make a perception check.
So your vigor is equal to your class hit die, right?
Mhm.
First level?
Yes.
I rolled a 10.
I believe I am at 0.
Ooh, you just got zapped unconscious.
Yeah.
No, you're not unconscious quite yet.
Well, that's true.
Your vigor is kind of like a cushion.
You've been unvigored.
Yeah, you've been
I no
unvigored.
longer am vigorous.
I
Yeah.
got a 10 on my perception.
It's completely taken all of your strength. You don't hear any of this go on.
Rat. Oh, here.
Okay.
Unless you would have... Unless they would have been like swearing or something like that.
I probably would have cried out in pain.
Okay, then you
Probably
do.
wouldn't- I
You would have
wouldn't,
heard it
like,
then.
scream, like,
Getting-
murder, but-
Yeah, getting zapped that bad, I'd imagine you'd at least yelp or something.
Yeah, you don't hear the zap. You do hear him screaming though.
Okay, I'm gonna go down and see what's going on and investigate.
Okay, so I pay, now that I try to regain my composure a little bit after getting zapped, and I look down at my hands, and then I look back at the person in the cage.
He's fallen on the floor. He seems unconscious too right now.
All right. And how do my hands look?
Mostly okay.
All right.
You do hear a snap in the distance though. And Hold on. Yeah, you do hear a snap in the distance, and then a very loud thud. And it turns out that the vault guards had dropped the person who you'd seen before, who had his face scorched.
Hmm.
And
They dropped him.
you can see that there's actually some sort of insects that have gotten stirred up by that. And you can see coming out of the cage, there's like a swarm of something.
Oh my gosh. I can see that, or he can see that.
Yeah, you can probably see it too. Make a perception check.
That
Hmm.
explains the bite marks on the guy's arms.
I have a 13.
Yeah, you can see that there's some sort of swarm.
Are they going in any direction, or?
They're swarming in almost all directions. There's different bugs going in different directions, but they're trying to kind of stay together.
Are they big, or are they relatively just like roach-sized?
They're typical insect size.
Okay. I don't worry too
Ladybugs.
much then. I try to investigate the guy in front of me who just got knocked unconscious and see if I can determine
Yeah.
whether he was shocked at the same time or he maybe just fell unconscious from the power or what happened.
You can see that his hands are starting to bleed out, and somehow there's some sort of sphere in there, like some sort of gray metallic looking ball of some sort, about the size of a basketball, that's like dropped down into where his blood is spilled out and is trying to roll around in the blood.
Oh
That's
my.
weird.
Um okay, how do I
And it turns over
Kill
and
them
it
all.
and it looks at you, and it has a single human eye with like the nerves
Oh,
pulling back
that's weird.
into like the rest of the ball, and you
interesting.
can see that it has like its form is flanked by two like knife blades, but then it
Weird.
retreats back up into the pit,
Where did wait, into where?
like back up into like the part of the pit that you can't see.
Okay.